proudest day, and the proudest time in the seat of a rally car, because that day and that hour and those minutes, I got the bit between my teeth. You know, I really stood up and was counted and said, this is not getting away. I remember when we pulled on our helmets and Donald says to me, what are we doing? I said, we're going for gold, Barrett. That's all was said. I can still picture that run. That was just the best run ever.
Welcome along to Krunching Gears. Let's talk rallying, episode 23. First of all, I'd like to welcome along now is Conor Edwards. Conor, you're very welcome once again.
Kevin, thank you very much. Delighted to be back again.
It's unbelievable. This is already in episode 23, but anyway. In this episode, we'll take a look back at the Nicky Grist stages last weekend there, around to the BRC. We'll look forward to Rally Estonia, the latest round of the WRC. But before we start, I suppose it's worth giving a shout out to Josh Moffett, who had a fantastic run in Poland last weekend as a warm-up for Estonia this weekend. The whole thing was to get round, get a few miles in the car, not do anything silly. He took a top 10 finish, and I think he was fastest overall in the very last stage, which was brilliant. And also Aoife Rafferty out in a wee 208 R2 in Italy. I think it was San Marino Rally.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, and she come away second female home and top 40 overall. So fantastic weekend. But the BRC from an Irish point of view was brilliant. I suppose there's no other way to describe it, really. Conor, were you keeping an eye on proceedings?
I was indeed. It was it was good to watch, or not watch, so apologies, but follow online, etc. We call it very interesting times coming up. Like it was a short sprint, like it really was. It was 8 stages, all very fast, all very quick. So, you know, it was from the get-go. If you weren't on it, you forget it, you weren't going to be finishing high up at all. So very competitive now between Pryce and Keith Cronin.
Yeah, like, you know, the two guys they probably are the class apart, but you know, there's Guy Williams in the Hyundai who unfortunately retired, but you know, a fascinating battle between them two guys. That championship's going to go down to the wire, I think, between the two of them. So competitive. Like, it's, again, you know, we're always talking about the Irish Championship. Like, you know, a few seconds in each stage, it's nothing, but it's a, you know, a half spin, like an overshoot. It's fractions of a second, fractions of, like, you know, a hesitation in a corner can make such a difference.
Absolutely. I think at one stage it was a 10th of a second somewhere in it, you know, between them on a stage. But this is the first gravel round of the BRC this year, so they've been fighting it out on tarmac up until now. And obviously for Keith and Mikie, they had a bit of a practice run on the Moonraker, which they came home first in as a bit of a warm-up the weekend before, and it held them in good stead, but very competitive. And I suppose Osian had the advantage of home turf.
Yeah, and you know, like, we have to think as well too, it's Keith's, you know, only his second time in gravel in the polo. You know, he's still only getting used to the Pirelli tires and all too. So, like, very commendable performance too. But, like, you know, Osian Pryce, as you say, home event, but still for himself and Noel Sullivan, as you know, 14 seconds on to finish up. It's hardly what you call commanding, but you know, they did seem to control the rally, in fairness.
Absolutely, they did. And then, you know, both of them had puncture scares, both crews at the end of the rally as well, which I suppose, you know, came into play slightly on the last stage as well. But still, as you say, it wasn't a dominating performance he had. You know, Keith and Noel were, Keith and Mikie were nipping at the heels there of the Osian and Noel.
Yeah, for sure. And then, you know, down throughout the field, then, you know, you had Alan Carmichael there and Arthur Cairns, who took the national section of the BRC. McCullough and Martin Brady, I think they were in the top 10. I think that's their first time in the, you know, the BRC in their new Fiesta Rally 2. So, yeah, you know, it's brilliant to see there. It really is.
Absolutely. And again, you know, not only that, also the juniors as well.
Yeah.
You know, strong performance there from Eamonn as well. I think you maybe caught napping in the first set of stages in the morning, but certainly after service got the act together.
Once you get the hammer down, you know, that last stage performance was something else. And, you know, we'll hear Eamonn's own side from that later on. But, like, you know, these BRC guys, the junior, like, it's amazing just the speed they're going at. the level they're going at. And we can't forget also the historics. Again, won by an Irish crew as well there too. So Michael McDade and Declan Casey as well too, which was fantastic as well. Right throughout the field, it's great to see.
Yeah, no, there were some very strong performances. Again, as your phrase, Paddy Power. The Irish crews are certainly dominating in their classes throughout the field.
Yeah, and we're great here in Ireland of putting ourselves down, but we should be celebrating this because it is brilliant to see our guys going over and competing with the best of British and showing them a clean pair of heels. Great to see.
Absolutely, and the more competition, the better. And I'd love to see a few more of the BRC guys making their way over to our side of the water as well. It was great to have Matt Edwards over for Donegal, but certainly be great if we had a bit more competition between the two countries.
Yeah, we look at the Irish Historic Championship. There's quite a few, the Welsh guys and the English guys not over doing that, and it adds extra dimension to the championship here as well. So definitely that would be most welcome, I have to say.
It would. And again, if we can get a couple of the Irish rounds included in the BRC again, would also help with that too.
Oh, here, we think back to West Cork a few years ago. That wasn't it. I can't remember how many R5 started that rally. It was 25, 26. Yeah. And that was just bonkers, and it was a fantastic rally as well.
Yeah, it was. And then if you think back to last year's Ulster, even the competition that there was at the front of that, some fantastic fights the whole way through. Yeah. Those stages now, it was a sprint from start to finish.
Absolutely. So without further ado, I think we should hear from last weekend winner, then Osian Pryce, and hear his thoughts on how the event went. Osian, before the Nicky Grist, you were on number 100 on the door, which is quite unusual, but it was a nice touch by the organisers to give you that number to celebrate your 100 starts in the BRC.
Yeah, it was a nice touch, actually. It was a bit of a shock. It actually caused quite a bit of confusion before the event. I was having text messages just before, just as the seeded entry list was coming out, asking if we were doing the rally. And I said, yeah, how come? And people were saying, well, I can't really see you on the entry list. So anyway, luckily a friend of mine texted me sort of like 2 or 3 minutes later saying, why are you at number 100? Okay. And then I just presumed then that 100 starts, and I thought, fair play, that's a really, really nice touch. So it did cause confusion. It was quite funny, but no, it was quite nice. It was a really nice touch to be fair.
There's a bit of blind panic thinking, how you forgot to submit the entry or what was happening?
Yeah, but for like 2.5 minutes I was going, did I pay for the entry? Did I miss something that but no, luckily it was just a nice gesture, and it was all good.
Excellent. And you talked before the rally about having to get your title back on track again. You were going there with determination to win. Was there a plan of attack?
I think Noel and I spoke about it really. I mean, we had a good sort of, I think it was 6 or 7 weeks off after obviously what happened on the Jim Clark, and that sort of gave us a bit of time to reset. I didn't really think much about the job in hand, really. Obviously, what happened wasn't great on the Jim Clark, and was a difficult one to sort of accept. Although, we accepted responsibility, but we knew from our experience on the Nicky Grist last year that the time was sort of to be had in the morning loop. After doing the recce, we sort of picked our stages where we knew that we and the car would be strong. There was one particular stage from last year that we were quite weak on, and I think even this year we were sort of not the best. We were still dropping a bit of time, but we sort of broke it all down. It's a very short rally, which is a good thing in some ways, but it also can be hard in others because it's a sprint. You have to be flat out from that first stage, and we didn't have the best test session beforehand. We won't go there. But we arrived on sort of stage 1 with a car which we knew that was going to be bang on. We'd learned a lot of the year previous. We stuck to the plan and just sort of went for it on the first loop and just hoped that there wouldn't be too much dust. Like stage 3 and 4, really, that's where we decided to put the hammer down, really, and it kind of won us the rally, I think. It it was all sort of pre-planned. Not all the time things go to plan like that, as you know, in motorsport and especially rallying. So it was nice that something that we'd put a bit of prep into had sort of paid off for us, really.
Yeah, the old A-team thing that you love it when the plan comes together.
It was one of those, and like I say, everything went really, it was fairly faultless over the weekend. We had a couple of little issues, like puncture on the last stage, and I made a few little silly mistakes because tires were having a hard time, and we were arriving with not much tires left at the end of the stages. So I mean, if in the grand scheme of things, we'll take that as near as perfect, really, to be honest.
Yeah, I think there's probably no such thing as the absolute perfect stage. It's getting as close to that as close to perfect as possible, really, isn't it?
Well, that's the thing, I mean, there's so many variables, especially in gravel rallying, at least, grip changes. We were surprised with how little grip we did have on the first run, considering how hot and dry it was. But yeah, I think we can sort of be happy with what we did and how everything went. And like you say, to sort of get everything perfect rarely doesn't happen, if at all. So it's just trying to get as close to 100% as you can.
Yeah, and you talked about the disappointment of the Jim Clark rally, but you have to take great heart. You showed good pace there. You took the one in the first round in Clacton. Does this put you back on track now for the championship? Is it something that you're aiming towards now?
Yeah, it's something that we've aimed for from the start of the season. I mean, having finished second, I think 4 times, I think I'm getting a bit fed up with that now, and I really don't want to finish second again. I'm sort of looking at where my future lies in the sport as well. Okay, I still have age on my side, but again, I don't want to be keep trying doing the same things over and over again. I'd quite like to sort of spread my wings a little bit. So it's something, the British Championship is a box that I've been trying to tick for a very long time. And yeah, as of last weekend, I think we've got things, back on track compared to what they were sort of 6 or 7 weeks previous. So things are looking up, and there's a lot of hard work still left to do, and some very challenging and enjoyable rallies coming up as well. So we'll sort of use the experience that we have from last year and put it to good use.
Yeah, and the way the championship has changed up a wee bit this year, there's some new events and all. So maybe sort of adds a new element to the thing as well.
Yeah, it's good to have new events. I think it just keeps the spice in the championship. I think if we went to the same rallies year after year, I think we'd get a little bit tired of it. And I mean, going off this weekend, like the Nicky Grist Stages, I think that they did a great job. I mean, the event actually stepped up considerably compared to what it was last year. Everything ran a lot better this year, and it's good to see that events are sort of up in their game. And like you say, we have got new events to the BRC, although maybe not so new to me, like Rally Ceredigion this year. I obviously won that back in 2019, the first running. So yeah, it's nice that it's in the championship. I think it's very well deserved. But obviously it's not an entirely new event for me. But yeah, great to have it in the championship.
Excellent. And we always look at the things here. I suppose we're a bit biased here from the Irish point of view. Having Noel there beside you, like a man you can trust, it allows you to concentrate on your job, really, does it?
Yeah, like I said many times before in different interviews, I think Noel's a huge asset to the team. We met many years ago when we were both sort of competing against each other, really, in the DMAC Championship, and back in the start of 2020, I sort of put a deal together for the BRC, which obviously was cut short because of the COVID situation. But yeah, he jumped in that time, and I think considering there was no trial or anything, just jump in and do the rally, everything seemed to click, and it made sense to sort of carry that on then once sort of 2021 came in. And yeah, I think Noel understands my way of working. I'm probably not the easiest drivers to get along with, but he's very calm, and sometimes you think he's too calm, but I mean, from a co-driver point of view, he's as sharp as they get, So he has my best interest at heart. He's a good friend as well. So it's a perfect combination, really.
Yeah, I know. Talking to other drivers, he can relax you when you need to be relaxed between the stages, and then when it needs to be turned on, it seems to be able to like almost flick a switch and go whenever it's required. Sorry.
Yeah, like you say, he's very experienced as well. Noel and I are both the same age. Within a couple of months, so we've both seen a few events by now, and obviously we've got the same desire to win as well. So when you've both got mutual interests and sort of mutual sort of ways of preparing and working, it's only a recipe for good things.
Excellent. And then again, at this stage, Melvin Evans Motorsport, they're almost regarded as an Irish team now, the success they've had here in Ireland and all too. They allow you to, turn up at an event and concentrate on your driving, that you're not worried, will the car be okay? They need to set do a change in the setup or anything. That they will give you a car capable of winning.
Yeah, I think from the very first time that I ever sat in one of Melvin's cars, having known Melvin for many, many years, I knew his work ethic, and obviously the results speak for themselves. And I think it was Rally Curragh in 19 was the first time I ever sat in one of his cars and worked with them as a team. And I haven't really been anywhere else since. It's just been like you say, the perfect combination, the work ethic, the attention to detail. How the cars are turned out, it's just a tick in every box for me. And it sounds silly, but, having them not that far away down the road, we're Welsh as well. There's no communication things. It sounds silly, but we all sort of understand each other, and everybody's on the same wavelength. And, again, it's back to last year and even the start of this year, the results they're ending up speaking for themselves. And it's making our sort of job a lot easier when you've got the tools to the right ingredients to do the job. Yeah,
and and this is podcast, and we've started now at the start of this year doing the reviews and one thing. We keep harping on about this polo, like the weekend past there, Nicky Grist, like a top 3 was all polos. Can you put your finger on what makes it that wee bit special or that wee bit different, or why is the polo such a successful car this year?
It's a good question, really, because obviously I haven't really driven many of the other sort of latest generation R5 cars. I think there's not a lot in it personally. From what I'm seeing from other results, there's other cars as well from like you say on the Irish Tarmac Championship. There are putting the times in. But if I'm honest, I really struggled with the polo the sort of, this time last year, the first half of the BRC last year. I was having to sort of change my long time sort of driving style really to suit the car. And from somebody who hadn't really done much R5 driving last year and leading up to that, it took me a while to get my head around it. But I think the car is just so highly tuned in a way. They've gone as far with the rules as they can with the car, and I think the way it works is very, very efficient. So if you're not efficient with it, then the car doesn't really work for you. And I think it's really helped me with my driving. Even at the weekend, I was having to adjust my driving a little bit to be more efficient to get the best out of the car. So they've really, I think, pushed the boat out on it, and like you say, that's why it's been so successful.
And the plan for now for the rest of the year, is it to try and wrap up the BRC then?
Yeah, it's been, like you say, the plan all along to try and bring the trophy home. We've had numerous attempts over the last sort of 8-9 years really. Things are looking okay. There's still a long way to go. But yeah, I think there'll be no other distractions. Budgets are sort of not all signed and sealed for the rest of the year. We still have a little bit of work to do from that side of things, as always, really. It's kind of a natural thing that seems to happen with me. The budget seems to sort of trickle in as we go along. So we have still work to do. Like you say, that's the plan. We'll just concentrate on the job in hand and try and get it over the line at the end of the year.
Excellent. And, just like from a purely sort of nosiness point of view, we've seen what Matt Edwards was trying to do this year to come over and do the Tarmac Championship and, it then come over and done Donegal. Would that be something that would appeal to you maybe in the longer term, as come over and do a few events there? And we've seen how well you've done, the like say the Ulster last year or in previous times whenever, there was rounds over here. in part of the BRC?
Yeah, like I said, you know, at the start of the year, I sort of set myself a goal to tick the box really for this year, and I don't really want to, as much as I've enjoyed my time in the BRC, and I'd love to keep on doing it, but I think I'm getting to the age now where, you know, I'm 30 next year. I need to sort of think about maybe enjoying some other sort of aspects and other championships that I've always wanted to do. So yeah, maybe we'll see how obviously the winter goes this winter, but yeah, I've always spoke to obviously Melvin and Noel. You know, they have so much knowledge of the events as well, and they're trying to sort of squeeze me to come over and do one. And it's something that I've always, you know, it's been a very high interest with me, and the competition is so high there as well. So it's very difficult to get a championship where, you know, there's high competition, you know, world class competition really, and you know, within reason, not far off the doorstep. So I think it's something that I will look at, and I have been looking at. So yeah, let's see what happens.
Yeah, like you know, I suppose it's only natural for like a competitive driver wants to go somewhere that's will help raise your game too, because if you're competing against 5 or 6 other guys, it's all at the same level. It pushes you to better yourself as well, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, and this is something that we sort of said last year. You know, we enjoy rallying. You know, we go rallying for fun, but we enjoy the winning. But what I also enjoy as well is having the battles, like this weekend with Keith, and even in Clacton as well. You know, it's nice to have somebody there that keeps you honest, and you keep them honest, and vice versa. So, you know, I don't go rallying just to have an easy win. I'd probably go and do something else if I was just winning everything. But the fact is that, you know, there's a high level of competition out there now, and the level's just raising year after year. I mean, you've only got to look from last year that the level's already raised in Irish and British rallying. So. You know, where's it going to go? And, you know, if you can sort of ride the wave and work alongside people that are winning and sort of pushing you along, you're only going to get better with them. So yeah, it's a great place to be.
Yeah, and you know, probably I was a bit of a doubter at the start, but this R5 concept has really, you know, leveled out the field as well too. For, you know, as you said earlier, there is probably 4 or 5 cars there that, you know, a Citroen, a Polo, Hyundai, whatever, and Fiestas and things. That there's not a huge difference in the cars. It's the preparation that goes into the car, and into the, you know, the guy behind the 2 guys in the car as well too makes the difference.
Yeah, like you say, there's certain cars that suit different driving styles and work in a different way. But I mean, you know, when you think about it, all these manufacturers are bringing out these cars, and you put them on the start of rally, you know, there's not really much between them. But it's just a brilliant concept, really. I mean, yeah, in the grand scheme of things, for somebody like myself, you know, it is quite an expensive car to run. You know, don't get me wrong, there's no cheap way in motorsport anymore. As we all know, there's no cheap way in you know, in general day-to-day life either. So, but as a concept, I think for high competition, you know, somebody can you know, jump in and get the miles in and really progress. And it's only the way that it happened to me. You know, I made my first sort of 4-wheel drive attempt in an R5, and, you know, learned a lot, and obviously progressed to where I am today. So it just works, and yeah, long may it continue, really.
Interesting to hear that Osian is considering coming over to do a couple of events over here. It'd be great to see him. And in addition to catching up with Osian, we also caught up with Mikie Galvin. Mikie, you're very welcome. Great to have you along today, just to catch up on how you got on in the Nicky Grist stages. So just before Nicky Grist, you took part, yourself and Keith took part in the Moonraker. Was that just really getting a bit of seat time, or was that a bit of testing prior to the Nicky Grist stages?
Yeah, the Moonraker was the first time on gravel with the Polo for Keith and myself. He did a very, very small test a couple of days before it. Nothing really worth talking about. So yeah, the Moonraker was the first go on gravel. Polo with Pirellis hadn't been on gravel since last year, so it was all new again. But it was great. Really, really enjoyed it, actually. It's always nice to do an event where you're sleeping in your own bed, you know. I was only half an hour from home, and he's only 45 minutes from home. So the Moonraker, yeah, we did it before. We won it in 2017 as well, in pretty much the same situation as we were in this year. So it is a lovely, lovely one for us to do, to warm up for gravel events. But it went great, obviously. But, you know, I must say that, God, you know, the guys in Ireland here are fast too. Patrick O'Brien now is really, really quick. I'm telling you, if he was over in the BRC, he'd be right up there for sure.
Yeah. So I suppose a good event in two ways. One, kept you on your toes, you know, competing against Patrick, and then obviously got a chance to get a bit of setup and a bit of testing and check out the Pirellis, as you say. Yeah,
we were just messing around with bits and pieces back and forward. Didn't make a whole lot of changes. But it was just figuring out what the tires were going to do and all different things like that. It's a great rally. There's actually a lot of work in that rally when it comes to the stages. Yeah, there's a lot of work, a lot of work. There was some slippy stuff, and it's real fast. I was joking with Keith. We were on one stage and coming across the top of the mountain down into Ballyvourney, and I was like, you know, it's a fast gravel road when you see a speed sign on the left hand side of a forestry road. You know, it's a fast piece of road. But no, it was good fun. Yeah, it was, you know, obviously great to win it too. But yeah, it was nice.
Yeah. So, and then, right, obviously then last weekend was the Nicky Grist, 8 stages, short rally, 70K of competitive mileage or kilometers. You know, so it's one of those events you really need to be on the ball from the get-go. And certainly after the first stage, there was 2 seconds separated the top 4. So it looked like there was a really good fight brewing between yourselves, Rory Bell, Osian Pryce.
Yeah, for sure. You know, there's actually a lot of the BRC events are like that. It's a real sprint. You know, this weekend there was only one service. You know, it was just stage into service, do the same again, and before you know it, you're on the boat home again. So it's like, you know, it is a rat race from the start. But we were first on the road this weekend, and we were starting the same stage as the first stage as last year. And I think everyone remembers what happened there last year. There was a monstrous accident in the first 300 meters. So I think that section is in everybody's head. It's a real sprinty stage, and there's a lot of gradients and jumps and crests. The first one you meet is the one where the proton went off last year. But yeah, that stage is a real sprint, and we came off, and I think it was only half a second between us and Osian and Noel. And as you said, what was it, 2 seconds between the top 4, was it?
Yeah.
So yeah, like, you know, we were happy enough with that. We were probably doing a little bit of cleaning, but not much. There's, you know, whatever 30 or 40 cars go through before us. But I think when the 4-wheel drive cars go into those stages, it's the first real line that's going to matter to us. So yeah, we were cleaning a small bit, but probably not an awful amount. So we actually found it a little bit tough. It was really loose. Obviously it was hot, it was dry. It was like there was, you know, like a resurfacing after happening. So it was really slippy actually. So yeah, that was the big challenge of the weekend actually, was just to stay on the line. That was what we found really hard. It was real marbly. So we just had to be careful, but you know.
And then despite that challenge of being first in the road, you had a stage win then on stage 2.
Yeah, we went into the next one then. He was happy after the first one of, you know, where he was first time out, and, you know, a really competitive stage. He was happy, went in, had a good push on the second one. Came to the third one then, and we came into a long right-hander, and we just got off the line and went off the road a small bit, and we ended up on top of a ditch. The car cut out, trying to start the car, you know, we threw away a bit of time there. So that was that stage gone. You know, over there you make a mistake like that, you are going to lose time, and it's going to be really hard to get it back. That's the thing. You can't make any mistakes over there because it's just too tight and it's too short. You know, it's great that it's short, it's lovely, it's great, but there's just no time to make mistakes like that. Went into the long stage, it was just under 13K, and just made a couple of more mistakes in there. You know, I suppose we were maybe chasing our tail a small bit, made a couple of mistakes, loose gravel, little overshoot, little bit wide here and there. And it was something like 10 or 12 going to service. And we knew it was going to be tough to, you know, to take that time back out on a loop. Osian is really quick. So we just had to do what we could do without going off the road. You know?
Yeah. So a little bit of a mental regroup then in service.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just kind of, was there any change of strategy, or was it just, okay, let's just tone it down a little, or?
Yeah, there wasn't a massive change of strategy. I suppose it was just to keep it keep it kind of tidy, hoping that, you know, there was a line after being cleared for second pass, which there was, and it got quite rough actually. There was a lot of hits and a lot of ruts and stuff, which was fine. It kept you on the road and stuff, but you know, it was kind of a shock how rough it got. Went into the first, second stage, did the third stage. That was okay. Times kind of didn't change a whole lot. It stayed as it was. And then we backed the fronted tires because tires were getting, you know, damaged quite heavily there. There was a lot of bedrock and stones. So we just had back the fronted tires in the heat. It was, you know, it was quite warm. It was 26 or 7 degrees. Got into the car, was driving to the last stage, and we had a puncture on the road section just on the way to the control. So I had to race in just before the control, got the puncture changed, got in, didn't really get time to settle ourselves, and went into the last stage and just had to mind ourselves really. There was a brand new tire gone on the car, so we just had to be careful.
And was it a piece of luck that you spotted the puncture, or was it obvious that you had the puncture on the road stage?
I'll be honest, we were just driving on the road section, and it was just a twisty road section. We were nearly at the control. Next thing, just turned the left-hander, and the car kind of drifted a bit. And Keith looked across at me, and I was kind of like, no. I was like, do that again. And he turned into the next left-hander, and it, you know, slid out again. We were like, oh, man. So out with the gloves, out with the bag, out with the drill, is sweating again. Oh yeah, it was a stressful couple of minutes because I'll be honest, I was only after slamming my hand in the door to doing the back to front, so my hand was like bleeding sore. I was like, I have to go do all this again, just to go into the last stage. But we got the last stage done, and we dropped a couple, and we just had to make sure we didn't drop back to third. I think we had like 15 or 16 seconds to third. So once we didn't drop that, we were safe. You know, like we weren't going to go in there and take you 12 seconds. But on top of all that, again, we got through the stage, went over the finish line, and just before the stop car, was it before the stop car, after the stop car? I can't remember. Osian and Noel were pulled in changing a puncture. They had a tire shredded. So at that stage, we were kind of saying, God knows what, you know, we've no idea how much they're after dropping. We actually don't know have we won the rally or not. But we came out at the end. They only had the puncture for just a mile at the end, and it was quite straight, and they actually dropped nothing. So that was that. Yeah. And happy days. Look, we're still leading the championship, and everything's all good. Yeah,
so I mean, we missed there. You also had a stage win on stage 5 there as well. So you two stage wins as well as second place, and you finished 14.9 seconds between yourself and Osian. So as you say, leading the BRC, you're 11 points ahead of Osian. Next round is the Grampian, 13th. What's the plans? Will you be back-eyed anywhere in between that? A chance for a bit more testing, or will the next event be the Grampian itself?
I think the next time we'll be in the car will be the Grampian itself, yeah. Between the Moonraker and the last rally, it'll be just a month off, I'd imagine. Maybe a test, but I would doubt it somehow. I think the next time we'll be there. I think there might be a shakedown before that event, so that would be probably the next time we'll be out, yeah. So yeah, just get ready and get the DVD and have a look at that stuff and just get prepped, you know.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, it was first time out on the Pirellis as well. All happy with the Pirellis on the Polo?
Everything's going fantastic. You know, it's the best package you could imagine. So you know, yeah, it's all good. Nothing to complain there. It's fantastic. You know.
Yeah. Brilliant. Mikey, listen, appreciate you telling us your story in the Nicky Grist, and we'll hopefully catch up with you again later on in the season.
Great. Thanks very much, Connor, for having me on.
Not a problem at all.
So that battle for the overall title in the BRC is fascinating, you know, it really, really is. So also we talked briefly there about the juniors. Like that battle was absolutely fascinating. You know, I think 3 different leaders throughout the week, throughout the day as well too. You know, it's intense.
Oh, very intense. And, you know, at one point it looked like it was going Kyle White's way. Mm-hmm. And then just at the end of the day, you know, just wasn't to be. Yeah. And then also thrown into that whole mix, you had the Max McRae piece as well. Yeah. You know, obviously the spotlight was on the junior category even more so because, you know, the famous name being involved in that.
Yeah, absolutely. And like for Max and to, you know, go out of the traps fastest in the first stage shows that, you know, the talent is definitely there, you know. And I know from just I was messaging Matt Cairns, you know, a couple of like small overshoots, you know, half spins. But like the talent's definitely there. This young fella is destined for big things.
Yeah, certainly looks it. Yeah, no, and I suppose if going on his DNA kind of has to be, you know.
Yeah, and like he's so grounded as well, and he seems, to have great respect for, like Eamonn Kelly and Johnny Mulholland and all these guys. There's definitely a natural admiration for between the whole lot of them. It's great to see.
Yeah, no, there's respect there, and it seems to be both ways as well. When you get chatting to the guys, they're not seeing Max as being hanging on the coattails of the McRae family name and stuff. They are giving him the respect and credit due as well, and I suppose he earned it and proved it, both in Donegal and on the Nicky Grist stages.
Without a doubt, fantastic to see. And Kyle White, getting back into this 208 Rally 4. It seems to be getting onto it really well now. Like, there was a very strong performance at the weekend. Johnny Mulholland, another good run there as well too. And fantastic to see these guys who are proving on in the British stage that they're as capable as anybody.
Absolutely, and we've a great bunch of them coming up and through the ranks, and you can only wonder that give them another 4 or 5 years, what will they be doing on the BRC in bigger and better machinery, and also in the Irish Tarmac Championship as well.
Yeah, for sure. And I know Kyle McDade Kyle didn't get over this, or Kyle McBride, didn't get over this weekend. He had issues getting parts through. But another young gun there too that's coming up through. Great to see there. With such a wealth of talent, it's we're in such a golden era of Irish rally, and I really do believe we'll look back in 10, 15, 20 years time, and will be an admiration for the crews at the moment.
No, absolutely. And, it's great that the development programs are there to support them at the moment as well. And long may that continue. Yeah. But it certainly, you can see that the doors are being opened, and the guys, once they're getting that bit of experience and the bit of tutoring under their belt, the results are coming. The results are there.
Yeah. And they have no need to fear anybody. Which is brilliant to see. And I suppose without further ado, we should speak to one of them young guns, Eamonn Kelly, and let him tell us about his fabulous result last weekend. So, Eamonn, since the last time we spoke, you done Donegal and the polo. Maybe not the result you were looking for, but very strong times, especially on the Sunday. Do you want to sort of talk us through how the rally went for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, yeah. We retired from the rally on Friday, technically with turbo issues, and of course not the result we wanted. But at the end of the day, we're still only learning the car. I don't think we expected to be, too high up the leaderboard. It was all this experience for us and a great opportunity. So, I mean, at the end of the day, the fact that we got to race for 3 days is, it's as good as anything. We were just taking the whole thing stage by stage, and I mean, realistically, we still got to do that. So I can't be anything but happy. And to experience just the stages in Donegal too, because I hadn't really done the rally once, but most of the stages were new to me. So to be able to go and do it and learn it in a car like that was just phenomenal. And yeah, what an experience it was. And I think by Sunday, our times were definitely getting much better, and we were definitely setting times near the top come the end of the weekend, and it was really, really positive.
Yeah, like Sunday, I was looking at the times there. There's a couple of top 3 times there, so that's like you have to take great heart from that to take away from it.
Absolutely, yeah. And again, like I said, never really done the stages before. And you're racing against the best drivers in Ireland, so there's definitely nothing to be ashamed of. So for us for the future, it's super learning, and it's a great baseline to build off, and we know we can look back at the in-car now going forward into next year and the year after, and we can just start building on it and start improving. So it's a long process.
Yeah, and the weekend wasn't without its dramas, really. All no.
Yeah, a few dramas. I think when you throw a 23-year-old into a car like that, you're asking for drama. So especially on his home rally. But yeah, of course, turbo failure on Friday, and getting that sorted, getting back out, and going for a steady kind of get to the end job. And first stage on Saturday morning, nearly writing the car off. That definitely didn't help. A few hairy moments like that and some other scares, but it's all part of learning, and it's all part of pushing, and I think we handled it all pretty well, and we got to the end, and like I said, some good times in the mix as well. So yeah, it was just such an amazing experience, and really, really lucky to have done it.
Yeah. And like then, back to, I suppose the main priority of the year is the junior BRC, and Nicky Grist was on there at the weekend. Another great result. Do you want to talk us through how that went for you?
Yeah, absolutely. It was fantastic to get back to gravel. Huge anticipation because we hadn't raced on gravel since the Cambrian, I think, which was last October. So it had been a while, and we only got a brief run out in the car the week before the rally. But yeah, phenomenal, and always great competition as usual. You have so many fast drivers around you, and it was a tough, like one of the toughest rallies I've done in terms of racing, because we set off on quite a slow start. Just genuinely, it was just me, not out of the blocks quick enough on the first stage. Really, really sluggish, which is something I'm trying to work on. But yeah, I was disappointed about that, but I think we recouped things pretty quickly, and we were fastest on the next two stages. Stage 4, then we caught the car ahead of us in their dust, and I mean, it's dusty without catching cars over there. So whenever you're really, really in the thick of the dust, it's literally 0% visibility, nothing. You nearly have to listen to your pace notes and sort of create like a fake road in your head because you can't see anything. And unfortunately, my fake road went the wrong direction at one point. I ended up in the ditch. So I lost a good bit of time. So it set us back quite a bit. And to be honest, it's such a short rally, like it was 41 or 44 miles or something. So when you get a significant time loss, you kind of think, you're down and out. So going into service, we were a bit disheartened and thinking, the best we'll salvage here is maybe third place. But yeah, we went back out and said we'd reset and go for a push, and we did that. And I think the second stage after service, then we lost power steering, which was just another kick in the teeth when things seem to be going a little bit better. And yeah, driving on gravel with no power steering and front wheel drive cars, it's tough. Like it's really, really, it's a big ask. And we weren't even sure if we would even continue at one stage. We felt like, it was mad trying to go to the end, but yeah, we got through the next two stages, and some of the other guys had some problems as well, punctures, and that leveled us all up going into the last stage. And it was kind of anyone's game between three of us, and we got our issues with the car sorted, and we just went for it, and put on a big push. We knew it was a golden opportunity, and after the day we'd had, I wasn't going to let it go, because we'd gone through all sorts of dramas, and we were really, really down and out, and yeah, just really, really focused and pushed as hard as we could. And yeah, the feeling when we got the news that we got it was just unbelievable. So it's the stuff that you dream to experience, them kind of comeback results, and yeah, really, really glad to have been involved.
Yeah, it was like an amazing comeback. I think you're like something like 13 seconds quicker than any of the rest of the guys. And such closely matched cars. Like that's a phenomenal amount of time to take out of in a relatively short stage as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's because I don't think there was as much of a gap in some of the other stages. But yeah, like I said, we just knew we had to go for it. But it didn't even feel like a hairy run or anything either. We just really focused and drove to the notes, and we didn't lift our heads up once. It was just pure focus from start to finish. And I don't really remember the run of anything, because we were both just kind of in the zone, and we seen the time, and it was somewhat maybe 20 or 30 seconds quicker than our first run. So we knew it was a good time. But yeah, it was a phenomenal feeling. And like I said, it's as a driver, you dream to be involved in things like that. So
yeah, and I know from talking to other drivers that whenever things become natural, and as you say there, you almost forget how the stage went. Like there mustn't be a better feeling than that. And to do it on such iconic stages as those Welsh stages, it really must be such a phenomenal feeling. You must be really pumped coming off that then.
Yeah, the WRC stages in Wales, they have all the elements to make it really, really special. They've got fast flowing corners, tight, narrow sections, flat out sections. It's when you're in the flow on a stage like that on gravel, and especially in the little Rally 4 cars, they're such capable machinery on gravel. Yeah, it's class. You don't realize it when you're doing it, but like when you come over the line, no matter what your time is, you're like, yeah, this is unbelievable. So just all them elements in the mix, and then getting back into Billith Wells and seeing kind of all the reactions and stuff, it was class. Just such an amazing feeling. And of course for our championship too, it's unreal to get 2 wins in the trot, kind of heading towards the halfway point of the year.
Yeah, absolutely, it's brilliant. And then we have to mention Max McRae. You've kind of become great friends with him. Like, to come over here to do what he done in Donegal, drive around for 3 days, already marked the car, and then to go to Nicky Grist onto those stages. Like, maybe the weather might have been a wee bit more reminiscent of Australia, but like, to put in the times he was putting in all weekend was fantastic.
Yeah, it was really, really impressive. Like, a lot of people I think forget that he's only 18, and like only just turned 18. With a significantly less amount of rallying done compared to the rest of us, and to be in that position where he can jump on to the first stage on Saturday and beat the rest of us, it's very impressive, and it's a sign of things to come. And even on the tarmac in Donegal, I mean, it's a crazy ask to ask someone who's never really driven on tarmac before to not only compete on a tarmac rally that's 3 days, but Donegal, it's a step above the rest. And he showed his worth, and I think he's definitely very promising for the future.
For sure. And like, looking forward now to the rest of the year, is it going to be focusing mostly on now the JBRC, or any thoughts of getting back out in the polo again before the end of the year?
Yeah, of course, the main focus has always been the JBRC, so it's our priority. The next round will be the Grampian, and I'm really looking forward to that. We got a victory there last year, so it was a special feeling. So delighted to be going back to Bankery, and hopefully we can try and have a repeat success, and a few other really exciting rounds coming up with that. So yeah, naturally that's our main focus. But yeah, the polo, to try and get back out in that again, I'll never say no. I know for sure we'll try and make a plan to do the Harvest, again being somewhat local to us, and maybe if we can do it, we try and go to the Galway Summer as well. So but yeah, to get out in the polo again would be pretty special, and hopefully I don't have to wait too long. It's class.
So brilliant to hear from Eamonn there, and hopefully I'll get that polo out again before too long. Looking ahead into this weekend, Rally Estonia, we've reached the halfway point in the WRC. This young Eamonn Kelly Rovenpera is what? I don't know where we go here, dominating, running away with it.
Just lost for words and how to describe his performance. It's every time you think he's going to come up against it, he just steps up another level, and just, like everybody else struggled with Safari, not Rovenpera, and he was first in the road. He was road sweeping, all the rest of it, and it seemed to go his way, where normally, that's the worst position you could be in.
Yeah, and we get into this weekend, 45 points ahead,
65 ahead
65,
of the bill,
and first in the road again. Will it hamper his progress? Possibly it will, but it doesn't seem to faze him. He seems to be able to manage it the very best, and it's just hard to know where's his challenge going to come from. Evans, his luck has to change. Something has to happen. He's not having the best of years, but Evans always seems to come into the second half of the season. There's something seems to click, and he seems to have a stronger time. But is it going to be too little, too late? That's just hard to know. Is the Hyundai is going to start coming good? Is M Sport finally going to reverse their run of bad luck? It's going to be very interesting.
It's going to be very interesting. Well, look, with M Sport, yeah, their luck has to change, but your luck also goes with your talent. And there's too many young guns there that they're trying to bring through the ranks and rely on to bring the cars home in one piece and in decent positions. Hyundai, I don't know, have they problems? It's so hard, they just don't seem to be getting everything coming good for them or coming together for them. There just seems to be too many issues there.
Yeah.
And again, back to lack of a permanent team manager. Probably not helping the situation, and certainly Neville seems unhappy, and Tanak seems very obviously unhappy, so I just don't know. And then Evans, is it too late? So really, even if he has a good result, is Kelly going to be phased?
Yeah. So hard to know. But from an Irish point of view, we have to look at it, at the championship so far, like Taka and Aaron Johnson sitting joint third in the championship. Absolutely brilliant, it's fantastic. And we're coming into events now that probably will favour Taka, like Estonia and Finland. where he's done a lot of testing and things like that. So, and it's possible.
Listen, if things keep going the way they're going for that crew, can you imagine Taka on his home event, the final round of the championship? I hope he's still in and around that third or fourth place in the championship going to Japan. It would just be amazing for him, genuinely.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Craig Breen, Paul Nagel, too, are own guys as well. And they're, probably fair to say they're having an indifferent year, but they're still sitting fifth in the championship. And now you're coming into rounds, the likes of Estonia, Finland. I've always been kind to Craig in the past. He seems to really enjoy these type of flat out, stages that seem to play to his strengths. So, it would be a fool to discount M Sport because, they obviously have a very fast car and, we know what Craig and Paul are capable of.
Absolutely. And the style of driving does suit, Finland and Estonia. And then don't forget down the line, you've got Eeps. He was great. And then you've got Spain as well, and then Japan, tarmac, Breen's good on the tarmac as he is on the loose. They're coming into that car. They're coming to it. It's coming nicely together. Paul and Craig, they're really settling into that Puma. And I think there's more to come. I don't think they've peaked yet.
Absolutely.
And that's why I said, I hope Taka's in that third or fourth spot, because ideally I'd love to see Craig in that spot, up there in third coming into the final round of Japan. It'd be amazing now if he can just climb the couple of places.
Sure, for sure. And then WRC 2, Josh McLean, who's having a very solid year, racking up the miles, getting decent results and all. And James Fulton, the co-driver, is leading the WRC2 junior class, for the co-drivers.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. I'm delighted for James. It's a lovely accolade to have. And fingers crossed that if they can keep that going, then, he walks away with that title at the end of the year.
Yeah, every title, you have to earn it. Nothing falls onto your lap. You have to go out and make it work.
So not the WRC stage either. Stages you're given nothing. You have to fight for it.
Absolutely. And also this weekend it sees the return of the juniors to the WRC round as well. John Armstrong and Will Crichton back out there as well.
Absolutely. So with John leading the championship, and then with Will sitting in fifth overall. So again, plenty to fight for both of those crews. And again, we're getting into those stages that suit John as well. That loose, flowing, fast, gravel stages that they do suit him.
Yeah, John is probably one of the most naturally gifted drivers, out there. Never mind from this island, anywhere. John just seems to have that natural ability to step into a rally car, any rally car, and go fast. We know the struggles he has with budget and one thing and another. But to put in the times he does with so little time in the car, unbelievable.
It is. No, that natural talent just shows through. And even if you take the last event, where he went out, re-entered under Rally 2, boom, started clocking up the stage wins. Phenomenal. Like he, no matter what happens to him, he bounces back. Yeah,
nothing seems to drag him down. He seems to have that innate ability to step back in a car and go again, and not get disheartened about it. It doesn't let it affect his performance. That's a sign of a true champion.
Absolutely, and I can only hope that somebody's watching and looking at him and what he's racking up, and there's somebody putting a budget together for him to step up a gear for next year.
For sure. So, we were looking forward to Estonia now this weekend. Will we try and do predictions on it? I suppose we probably should. Do you want me to go first, or do you want to go first?
Go for it, Kevin.
Okay, then. I don't know. I'm struggling with Roving Pair being first in the road. I'm going to go Breen maybe for the one. Neville and Roving Pair. I think that's the way I'll go for my top.
Okay, interesting. No Tanak on a home event. Yeah, I don't know. I think Tanak's luck has to turn, and if it's going to turn anywhere, it's his home event. I think Tanak can take the win here if everything goes smoothly with that Hyundai, and that's a big if. Behind him, I think Breen for a second place. I'd love to see Breen win it, but I think Tanak has got more to prove and probably hungrier to bounce back. And then I would say we're looking at Ooh, Evans or Kelly for third. We'll go for Kelly for third, I think.
Also this weekend we have the Stonethrowers Rally in Tipperary. Always a fascinating event. I think it's running the traditional 3v3 stages. Always blessed with good weather down that part of the country as well, Conor.
It usually is, and that usually means it's a quick, fast, rally. I know any of the years I've been down spectating on it. It's a cracker rally to watch, and it's usually.
I suppose it's Josh's event to hopefully crown off the championship for him. It would be great to see because we're on round 6. It's only 8 rounds, or 8 rounds there too. So if he gets a decent points haul now from this weekend, that should be pretty much wrap up the championship for him. And I suppose the fact then that Darren Gass he's probably in now, he's on the reserves, and Robert Barble is a non-starter. So that probably makes his job that wee bit easier.
That's it. The main competition isn't there. And, he's so far that Hyundai has run very smoothly, and fingers crossed if he has a hassle-free rally like the previous 5 events, he should have the title in the bag.
Absolutely, and some other great entries there, like Tim McNulty back again, the 2 McHale brothers.
Yep.
There's good quality field there, and then in the 2-wheel drive, the battle resumed between Jason Black and Eddie Callaghan. That's going to be a fascinating battle there too.
Absolutely, and Chris Armstrong's on the entry there too, and Chris is usually does pretty well down this neck of the woods.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so all in all, it's going to be a fascinating. Will we go for overall in 2-wheel drive?
Ooh, yeah, far away.
I think I'll go overall. Then I'll go with Josh and Darren Gass second, and Gareth McHale maybe third. And 2-wheel drive, I'll go Jason Black.
Yeah, listen, it's a tough one. The way Josh has been driving, you couldn't rule him out for number 1 spot, obviously. Second place, ooh, tough one, all right. Tim McNulty's had a bit of a warm-up, a chance to get used to the car now. Could it all start to come good for him? I don't know. So, would I see Tim maybe third place? So, who we're looking at? Owen Murphy, maybe Gareth McHale for second.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's between those two. I'll nail the colours to the mast here. So we'll go with Josh, Owen Murphy, and Tim McNulty. And then Jason Black, I think, he's been pushing hard all year. And I think, I would go for Jason for 2-wheel drive.
Right. Well, then, sure. We'll tune in next time to find out how badly we done. So
who we jinxed.
Yes. So once again, can you please like, share, comment, subscribe, all of those things and rate the podcast too. That all those things make a huge difference. Just want to thank you all for the numbers over the last few weeks have been outstanding, and it's gratefully appreciated. So until next time, take care, speak soon, and bye.
Ah!